because I think it's important for us also to take away from today's conversation, not just the theory of it, but how to do it. So your point about having high conservation valuation assessment is useful, so that then you can come up with a very detailed plan addressing the different evaluation assessments, right? And your point, some could be crop selection, some could be the intensity of plantation. Thank you. Perhaps then going back to Martrade, your greening supply chain, what is the critical success factors for you, as a deputy CEO? What must we do besides awareness? What do we need to do? And perhaps not just, I guess, SMEs in Malaysia, but across Philippines, Indonesia. What do we need to do to make sure we don't lose out in this cross-border trade landscape?
Yeah, I think the risk of not complying with ESG requirements is basically our market access is going to be restricted because, the advanced markets like Europeans and America, they have introduced a series of ESG and sustainability laws and acts, such as the Supply Chain Act, all that. So if we are not able to comply with that requirements, then there will be impact on the market access by our enterprises. And last year, Malaysia exported 1.426 trillion ringgit Malaysia worth of goods. And our trade numbers just out yesterday. For the first 5 months this year, we exported now already surpassed 1.1 trillion ringgit Malaysia, our trade. Yeah, but for export, more than 600 billion ringgit Malaysia worth of export for goods only. So if we don't really serious about it, and especially for our small and medium enterprises, there will be a lot of challenges ahead of them because the contribution by micro, small and medium enterprises to our total export is still small. In 2022, our MSMEs, they only contributed about 10.5% of the total 1.525 trillion. Last year, 1.43 trillion. 2022, 1.525 trillion ringgit worth of export. Only 10.5 from micro, small and medium enterprises. Yeah, only 10%. Government has set a target next year to increase the share to 15%, and by 2030, government has increased to 30% of contribution. So if we want to ramp up this kind of export, we have to really look into the capability of our enterprises, especially the SMEs, to be able to not only embrace, not only aware of, but how to comply it. And this is where the role of our 49 overseas trade officers, first, of course, they need to furnish a lot of, the information about all these requirements. But here back home, we need to have a complete synergy among the ecosystem players. Not only Martrade, we are talking about international trade and export, but there are a lot of other government agencies, ministries, as well as private sectors. They are very keen or very interested to pursue ESG agenda, but whether are we really, in sync? So this is where under our 5-year national trade blueprint, we have that component on sustainability and ESG for us to work together with all the relevant stakeholders, for us to be able, first, to make sure our enterprises, again, is not only aware, but the action plan for us to go through the journey of compliance to ESG and sustainability requirements. So,
very good. So what you saying with
17 agenda, satu misi, 7 tahun tersisa untuk mengubah dunia.
For SMEs to embrace So what you say?
Apa pencapaian
Our
kita
export is about
untuk
1.5
umat
trillion,
manusia?
10% is from SMEs.
Bagaimana cara kita menjaga harmoni dan kemakmuran dunia?
Raise ESG.
Inilah komitmen kita untuk mendukung para pemimpin dan pejuang perubahan. Karena kita percaya pada dampak kolektif yang dapat diciptakan oleh setiap insan di dunia. Teruslah berjuang dengan keyakinan. Inilah saatnya suara kita didengar, lantang dan tegas, sehingga kita dapat meninggalkan warisan dan harapan bagi generasi yang akan datang. Gaungkan aksimu bersama lestari.
ESG framework that every country has and see whether there is
17 agenda, satu misi.
framework ESG framework for us to have more common kind of platform. I'm talking from business perspective for our enterprises. So I will have to look into that among the ASEAN countries, because in terms of trade and export, we already have our ASEAN free trade area, trade agreement AFTA for many years, since 1993. But how about now shifting to the new mega trends about ESG? So we have to be serious about it and be able to help enterprises from all the ASEAN countries. And in fact, last year, our ministry meeting, they had launched the IESG framework for manufacturing. So we are supporting the initiative, but we need to align with other ASEAN countries as well.
Very good. I think that's the purpose of the session today, right? I mean, and this Asia ESG positive impact is about us working together, maybe starting with the first three countries. Jenica, your point of view from Philippines, the suggestion by Encik Abu Bakar to work cross-border more, especially for intra-trade, intra-ASEAN trade, your views?
Yes, there's actually a lot of opportunities when it comes to working cross-border. And there are also opportunities when it comes to compliance to ESG framework, again, coming from the biodiversity perspective. There are ways to maybe look at identifying biodiversity-specific indicators and then aligning those with traditional ESG metrics. And even aligning that with international or global conservation goals, like the very recently investors that prioritizes a business that are businesses that have or are able to demonstrate nature positive commitments. So there are opportunities there, and there are definitely opportunities for collaboration and partnership between the three countries and other Asian nations.
Yeah, especially with the geopolitical tension heating up. I do know that we are given 45 minutes for this. I just want to check with the organizers, how many more minutes do we have? And perhaps while the organizers can come back to us, perhaps I can open now for questions from the floor, just to make sure that you all are paying attention anyway, just joking. Any questions from the floor around the particular topic around cross-border trade and ESG? Yes, sir, thank you. We can get a mic to this gentleman here, please. Is that possible? Yep. Thank you for volunteering. While we are doing this, Simon Darby Property, so perhaps someone can help to prepare for that particular answer.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Trying to keep this meeting warm.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
The question I have is this, because when you look at the supply chain, and when we are talking about in a very global environment, rules may change over time, right? Where you know, and it's not, sometimes it's not for the wrong reason, right? Because you need to do this progressively, right? So my question is that given that individually we are small countries compared to the US and Europe, is there an ASEAN-based standardization when it comes to all these supply chain? Because, I mean, for me, is number one is, you know, we need to know what it's all about. I guess this is where education comes in. But number two is, what's the solution.
That's
Because-
right.
Because for a business, when you do not know what's the solution, that's a scary part, I believe. Thanks
That's
very
right,
much.
that's right. And next year, Malaysia is the chair of... So maybe I'll start with Martrade, and then maybe later on, Surin and Janika. The question is, with the supply chain and global rules changing, could we have an ASEAN standard, and where are we on this? Perhaps we start with you, Encik Abu Bakar. And if you don't mind, I stand so that I can get some energy. So go ahead.
We are not a policy maker, so I'm not in the position. But I think in terms of standardization, anything that we do, we need to have a standard, right? Common standard, especially when we talk about collective ASEAN markets, more than nearly now 700 million population. So it's huge. But the thing is that I think while we have other standards that addressing trade and business related matters, but on ESG, I think that we can further solidify and intensify our efforts to have a common standard among the ASEAN countries.
So you would agree, and perhaps this Asia ESG Positive Impact Consortium can take this up to lobby the different countries. But anyway, Janika, your point, your view.
I just find it a bit funny because we're talking about standardizing ESG framework, but when it comes to biodiversity, there isn't even a standard methodology on how to measure the stocks. No, I mean, compared to climate and carbon, biodiversity is actually lagging behind. So when it comes to your greenhouse gas emissions, and you're trying to look at impacts of of your emissions, you have scope 1, scope 2, scope 3. But we don't have that same for biodiversity. So you can measure your carbon footprint, but measuring biodiversity footprint is still in its very, very early stages. So there are also opportunities there, and maybe in the next future, we could be able to come up with a unified, standardized framework in order to measure that.
And this biodiversity lack of standard is not just ASEAN, it's across the whole globe, is it? Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Surin, your point of view.
Okay, I think standards is a loaded word, because when you talk about standards, normally you will also mention about certification, because certification is a way to check whether your standards are being, implemented. And there's already a lot of, standards out there. So usually we talk about global standards, and each country may have its own national standards. So speaking from a producer's point of view, a manufacturer or plantation company's point of view, more standards means more headache, because it means then you have to have auditing for various standards. These companies can end up spending a lot of time and resources just doing audits. So is that the way to go? So I would think that rather than trying to come up with too many standards, we should focus on the improvement bit, right? Improving practices. And also going by what Cik Abu Bakar mentioned just now, right? It's actually the SMEs that are struggling. I don't worry about the Sime Darbis or the IOIs or the KLKs, in this region. They've got the resources, they've got the people who can help them achieve those objectives. But the SMEs, the smallholders, the small players, they're going to really struggle if there are a lot of things that they have to comply with. And I think the big players need to support the small players, support through the supply chain, make sure that they can improve their practices in a stepwise manner, help them along the way, yeah.
Very good. So your point is not standards, but helping to improve performance and get the larger organizations to help the SMEs. Thank you so much. Just, if you don't mind, Sime Darby Property, a bit of promotion for you, your role as a biodiversity partner for this. Yeah, thank you. Let's welcome, can we get a mic? Yes. Perhaps an introduction?
Yasmin Rashid.
Yasmin, yes. Thank you, Yasmin.
It's okay if I just stand here?
Yes, please.
I think for us, okay, thanks.
Thank you, Yasmin, for Let's give her a round of applause to encourage her. Yeah, thank you so much.
I think over the last 10, 15 years, I think we're just blessed. We're just blessed with a lot of land as well. And majority of our land are predominantly unused oil palm plantation. So apart from focusing on converting them into townships, we're going to bring people to come live there as communities, and hopefully they can also have generations to live there as well. And I think we were guided by very strong leadership in the belief that turning agricultural soil into healthy soil symbolizes the beginning of making a healthy township. I think that was essentially the spirit and the philosophy. So we've been doing a lot of that. Of course, we remove palm oil trees, right? But for every palm oil tree we remove, we replace it with what we call ERT species. I think Surin will be familiar, which are endangered, rare, or threatened tree species. So we've been doing this tracking for the last 10 years. We hope we can digitize this whole experience to give us an idea and map out whether our efforts are bringing back urban biodiversity into townships. So maybe a bit of shameless advertising here. KL East Park is one example where 50% of the township is green because of the 53-acre park. And we use it as a playground to educate communities. So we do things like put a thermometer outside, which is normally 35, 32 degrees. And as you track inside, you put another thermometer inside to and it's normally 21, 19 degrees, to kind of just give that knowledge to people who hike that without this green lung here, and it connects to Bukit Tabor, the entire township will also be a bit less pleasant. So we hope we can replicate this across township. I know it can be slightly academic, but I think we need to get to that level as well. And we hope, like working with perhaps, and we're working with nonprofits as well. I mean, at the end of the day, we hope what we do can generate data that can help us improve our townships, but more importantly, the data should sit with other people as well so that they can look at how they can improve their townships.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Wow, very inspiring. Thank you. Let's give a round of applause. So to me, that's important, right? Today, I mean, it's Friday evening, staying back for another hour for this. Why? But things like this, right? Inspiring us to do something different for the nature. So thank you so much. I see you're prepared to end us. Time's up. Thank you so much. Please join me to thank our panelists for participating today. Thank you so much.
Thank you once again, Mr. Chow, Encik Abu Bakar, Mr. Surin, Ms. Janika, as well as questions from the floor. Thank you, Yasmin. It's good to see you again. With that, ladies and gentlemen, nothing else, right? I think we'll just have to talk about this again more and more. It's quite endless, this topic. So once again, thank you so much, dear panelists. And we do hope that it was very insightful, informative for all of you attending here who are still here with us this afternoon. So I guess, Alvin, it is safe to say that ESG will surely expand significantly throughout our region, inshallah, and it is vital that the main key players of each country play a very significant role in sustaining ESG best practices in each country's representative industries, civil society, and more.
Absolutely right, Daphne. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our program for today. We hope you had an enriching experience, and we would like to thank you for joining us for the first ever Asia ESG Positive Impact Consortium launch. Give yourselves all a big round of applause for being right here and supporting our event. Give yourselves a big round of applause once again, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for being here. We look forward to seeing you at future events and continuing this journey of positive impact together. Once again, my name is Alvin Ansans.
And I'm Daphne Aiking. We still have some refreshments outside. Do take a look at all the booths. Just now I had a little walkthrough and they've got some fantastic ideas and initiatives. See where we can assist them, especially our SMEs. On that note, once again, from Alvin, myself, thank you for joining us. Until we meet again, inshallah. See you guys.
Take care.
Let's save planet
Bye-bye.
Earth.